Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down the game we love, best discussion, debate, and analysis. That's our mission each and every day. We got Pat Murphy on the line from Bucknuts 247 Sports. Check out his work and the rest of the staff there, again, at bucknuts.com. Buckeyes take on Illinois. We're sitting here on a Monday afternoon recording with the Tuesday night display and unveiling of the first college football playoff rankings. So the AP, the coaches poll, basically aren't necessarily looking at the resume, the track record, the week schedule. They're saying Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country. We know that from what we saw last season, what we see pretty much every season, and they haven't done anything necessarily to detract from that. So they're still ranked third, despite playing lesser games and not being super impressive. But we'll see what kind of take the playoff selection committee has on Ohio State's uneven performances.
I would be surprised if Ohio State is at least not in that top four. Obviously undefeated. The College Football Playoff Committee came out yesterday and said there are no minimum number of games you have to play to get into the playoff. So that leads me to believe, although it doesn't say it directly, that the fact that Ohio State's only played four and Alabama and Notre Dame and Clemson have all played 7, 8, whatever it is, won't change anything. What I do think will be interesting is the College Football Playoff Committee tends to be a surprise or two in those first rankings. When you compare it to the AP poll or the coaches poll, there tends to be something different. And usually there's something closer to the top, whether it, is maybe Ohio State being lower than people expected, or, Cincinnati or BYU being higher. There's usually something like that. And I expect that that'll be the case again. They obviously do their rankings very differently than the AP and the coaches. So I think Ohio State, like I said, will be in that top four. I think, for the most part, if you watch Ohio State play, they look the part. Now, Saturday, that was not the case in the second half, again, defensively and to some degree offensively, but it was also against a top 10 team. And it'll be interesting to see where the committee has Indiana ranked, because that'll give you a kind of a barometer of what they thought of that win for Ohio State. So if Indiana is a top 15 team still, as they were in both the coaches and AP poll, then I think you see, okay, Ohio State's getting credit for this win, maybe more than some other people are giving them. I expect that will be the case, but you never know what happens in that room going forward. So I think this was, as you mentioned, Ohio State's only chance to play a top 10 team, probably at least until the Big Ten championship game. So I do think that has to be taken into account, but we'll have to wait and see what the committee thinks.
Yeah, I think that the history shows us that the AP and the coaches poll is more of a feel of these are the best teams in the country. And of course, the wins and the losses have to line up with that to a certain degree, but and Ohio State is going to be given more credit just based on what we know about the personnel, the talent, all of that, and what they've done in the past versus a Northwestern. Because if you just go by resume, and this is the reason I've got Northwestern ranked ahead of Ohio State, is because I'm a resume guy. And I think the results on the field should count more than anything else and not just an assumption on talent. And Northwestern's 5-0, Ohio State's 4-0. So they've got an extra data point. Plus the teams on its schedule are just superior. They've beaten Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue, 3 capable teams. Ohio State hasn't had that opportunity. I would put only one team in that league, in that category, and that's Indiana. But I understand people that would say, Ohio State, we just believe that they're a better team. And until they prove otherwise, we're going to rank them that highly.
Yeah, and I think, too, regardless of where Ohio State is in this first ranking, we've seen how much change there can be from week to week, right? So, if Ohio State is, let's just to throw out a number, and if Ohio State's 6, for instance, if the Buckeyes go out and handle Illinois this weekend convincingly, take care of Michigan State in 2 weeks, and then beat Michigan, going into the Big Ten championship game against either probably Wisconsin or Northwestern, looks more like Northwestern after this weekend. I think you see Ohio State climb back up, and by the end of the season, an undefeated Ohio State should be in the college football playoff, I would think. Just like if Northwestern were to run the table, beat Ohio State or whoever in the Big Ten championship game, I think Northwestern would get a shot. People were asking last week about if Indiana won out before, obviously the loss to Ohio State, would they get a shot? And, I don't know how you take an undefeated Big Ten team take the name off the front of their jersey, I don't know how you don't put them in, regardless of who it is. So, I think that's important to remember, is regardless of what the rankings look like on Tuesday, every year they've changed. The committee's supposed to tear up one ranking in between weeks and re-rank everyone the next week. So, it's all based on what you do, the resume, as you put it. So, I think if Ohio State handles its business, especially if it starts to clean things up and looks better, then the Buckeyes will be fine going forward. It's just about getting those wins each week.
Good stuff from Pat Murphy on Bucknuts. Please join him there on 247 Sports. It's bucknuts.com. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Please lock it in. Subscribe today. Pat, appreciate you stopping by.
For sure.